Yeah, I was gonna say like a quick introduction, like ask me who I am, and it can be like, my name is Katie Clarkson, I run Clarkson Photography, and I've been a photographer in the Comox Valley for the past 11 years.
Hey guys, this is future Joey checking back in because I realized I never made an intro to this video when we shot it. So today's video is all about finding a photographer for your next band project, whether that's album art, a promo shoot, or maybe just rebranding your website with some new pictures. Today I'm going to be talking with my sister, Katie Clarkson of Clarkson Photography, and she has been doing this for, well, almost half of her life, so she knows her stuff, and we're going to talk all about the do's and don'ts of finding a photographer for your project. All right, we're going to jump back into the conversation with Katie now. Hey Katie, how are you doing today?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
Yeah, I am doing really well. I'm super excited about this. So should we just jump in then?
All right.
Awesome. I'm going to start with the first one. When searching for a photographer, do not ask your community for somebody who is reasonably priced or won't break the bank. This can be misinterpreted and taken the wrong way by the photographer. It can feel like you are devaluing their art. There's no shame in not being able to afford something, but there is shame in saying that somebody's not worth what they've valued their time and skills at.
What you should do is, if you're working under a budget, put out what your budget is. Everybody's lowest number is always different. If your lowest number is $100 for a photo shoot, let people know there are photographers out there who will work for $100. Just saying you're looking for a photographer who won't break the bank isn't enough. We need to know what breaking the bank is for you specifically. Let your budget be known to your photographer and see what they can do to work around it.
That is so important, guys. I mean, the last thing you want to do is start your photography relationship off on the wrong foot, so just make sure you're being respectful. Don't ask a photographer to change their style. Do not go up to a photographer who shoots wildlife and ask them to shoot your album cover. It would kind of be like somebody asking you to play a jazz set at their venue if your genre is country.
What you should do is research your photographer beforehand. Look at their portfolio and see if their line of work lines up with yours. Photographers have worked for years to come up with the style that they have now. Make sure they match up with your style and your branding. So do your research, come up with the style you want, and look at their portfolios.
Speaking of knowing what you want, don't withhold information from your photographer.
Yes, exactly. Give us all the information you can. It's great if you could come to us with this thing called the lookbook, which is all the branding and ideas that you're wanting. Make sure you have a clear image in your mind of what you're wanting from this session and create a book with information on that. If that's a color palette, if that is the style of shooting, if that is a certain pose or image you're wanting. Create that so we know exactly what's going on in your head. Make sure you communicate with your photographer as much as you can.
Pro tip, it doesn't actually have to be a physical lookbook. You can make a lookbook that works really well on this not very well-known site called Pinterest. That was a bad joke.
That was a bad joke. You should just keep that part in.
It wasn't even a joke. Back to these do's and don'ts. Don't expect your photographer to be okay with you editing those pictures. Yes, I am talking about Instagram.
We spend hours coming up with our style and creating that style in the image, and then when somebody throws an Instagram filter on it, it just doesn't feel great. So what you should do is ask your photographer if it is all right for you to edit the image. Most of the time it's not okay with them because this is artwork that they have created. It's like them taking your song and putting a crazy amount of auto-tune on it. That's what an Instagram filter is to photographers. The best way to avoid having to edit your own image is finding that photographer that you like the style of.
It definitely helps if you've researched your photographer and you actually like their photography style in this scenario. Okay guys, so you found a photographer you really like, you like their style, they want to do a shoot with you, you've provided them with a lookbook, you have a date in the books. Do not assume that you will have 50 edits from the shoot after you do the session. A session fee doesn't always mean you get all of the edits back. In fact, it rarely means you get all of the edits back.
Exactly. Let's go back to do your research. Find out what is included in this photography package. This might include no images at all. This might include 5. This might include 10. It could include the entire gallery. But don't expect all of the images to come back to you. Again, communicate with your photographer and see what is included.
Communication is key in so many parts of your life. I mean, to put it into musicians' terms, this would kind of be like hiring a producer and then expecting them to create unlimited revisions of your song, as well as maybe unlimited remixes of your song. It's not gonna happen. You wanna talk to your photographer before you go into the session and make sure you know what you're going to be able to take away from the session. Turnaround times. If you need a photograph taken, don't book the shoot 3 days before you have to turn your album artwork in and expect the album artwork to be done on time.
Turnaround times are different for every photographer. Some photographers are able to do a rush order, but this will be an extra charge. So make sure to plan ahead for when these images will be ready.
Basically, it all comes back to communication, guys. Once you find a photographer, you need to communicate with them to make sure you're both on the same page. You can probably take that tip into every other part of your life as well, because communication really is key. Okay, Katie, this is the fun part for us. Can you share with us one of your worst photography stories?
One of the worst stories that I can think of right now, based on the turnaround time, is I had a wedding client contact me 2 days after the wedding asking if their images were done. Now, those who don't know, wedding photography can take up to 2 months to edit. It all depends on the different photographer. My turnaround time is somewhere between 4 to 6 weeks. But this bride contacted me 2 days after her wedding asking if they were done yet. I can't remember exactly why they wanted them so quickly, but it had something to do with a good deal on an album that they wanted to have printed. I tried my best to do a rush order, but there's no way I could finish editing 800 to 900 photos in 3 days.
That's a lot of pictures, Katie. That's a lot.
Yes.
So do you have any closing tips that you would give bands for when they're communicating with photographers?
Yes, I definitely do. Make sure you think about their time as well. This even comes down to communication, not just on the shoot day. If you text them or call them or email them after their closing time, which might be 2 p.m., might be 6 p.m., don't expect them to reply within that day. Photographers have lives too, and their business has to stay at work just like yours does as well. We all need our free time, so please give them a little bit of leeway for response time.
I think that's a great tip, Katie, and I think that that's just a good tip for people in general, because for some reason in this day and age, we send a message and we expect a response right away. We're so impatient. So I really think that that's a great tip to bring into probably more than just one aspect of your life. Definitely treat your photographers well. Give them some time to respond, and remember that they're running a business just like you are, so they have business hours. Thank you so much for your time, Katie. I'm really happy that you were able to sit down and do this with me. I'm really looking forward to the next episode.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, bye!
Bye!
Hey guys, Future Editing Joey is back because I also didn't make a very good outro for this video. So if you're sticking around still, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Let us know in the comments below if you found this helpful or if you have any other questions. And on the way down to the comment section, if you could hit that subscription button and turn that notification bell on, that would be wonderful. If you're interested in checking out any more of Katie's projects, I'm gonna leave links to her photography page in the description box below. So please do follow through and support her on her social media pages. She's got some excellent content and more stuff like this. Thanks so much again, guys. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video.
Is it just Peter farting?